3, 2, 1, and there we go. Rob,
I didn't. God.
That's right. All right, so everyone, welcome to another Wednesday evening. One of the best shows on the internet and one of the best days of the week. Masculine Geek number 69. Insert sexual joke here. So, we have a friend of mine on, Mr. Ciano. He is a native Floridian, a teacher, a whiskey drinker, and an H.P. Lovecraft, Providence, Rhode Island aficionado. And in the background is a small dog. So there you go. since Rob has his cat in his lap, I figured I'd point out the dog.
Not you. There's two of them here.
What's up, Juan? What's up, Carl, Alec?
Everybody in the chat, how you doing?
Yep. Red, Mick Tubus.
Who's that, Sal?
So this is Ichabod.
Ichabod?
After Crane, because he straight up looks like an Ichabod. I mean, just
He kind of does. He's got that lanky.
Yeah, and he's getting ready for bed, and then kind of this. I don't know if you can see him. The camera here for you, but
oh shit!
Yeah,
I had no idea he was
that's a big one.
right there. I should have known by the tail going back and forth. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, they're both rescues, and I got the little one out of spite, actually, at the pound.
Out of spite? That's a story,
totally.
I'm sure.
Yeah, would you like to hear it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's hear the spite story.
So my fiance at the time wanted this dog. She had me come over to the pound, and she's like, check this dog out. He's very small. He could fit in the palm of my hand. He was just a baby, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month old. And I didn't want him. I didn't want another dog. We had 2 at the time, and I was like, I don't need another dog. That's that. We actually had 3. We had 3 dogs already. It was number 4. I'm like, no. So we're standing there, and we're getting ready to leave, and some woman walks in, and she is wearing a midriff, and she's got this crazy, just things are hanging out in places, and she's really trying to be like a Kardashian, but she's not.
Oof.
Oh, it was
anyway,
Karen.
She's a Kardashian.
She is not the farthest thing from, and she comes in, she's like, I want a dog. I saw these puppies online, those puppies right there. And she goes, I want one of those puppies for my purse. And I'm like, oh, God.
What?
Yeah, so she's in there shouting about it. Now, at the same time I was looking at this dog, there was a woman with a handicap and her a caretaker. They were getting ready to adopt one of the dogs, one of the puppies that was like a litter. And then there was a mom and a son. And they were both taking home one because they couldn't decide which one they liked better. So they're like, so we'll take one each. And then there were 4 of them total. So there's 1 available dog. And the woman walks in and she starts yelling about wanting this dog for her purse. And the lady behind the desk is like, I'm sorry, all the dogs are up for adoption. They've already spoken for. If one comes available, I'll let you know. And she turns, and I'd already told the woman no, and she's like looking at me, begging me with her eyes to just take the dog home and say yes. Just say something at this moment to make sure this woman cannot have a dog, because this is, as soon as it's too big for the purse, this is the thing, it's let loose in the canal,
Yeah.
So she turns and she looks at the lady with the handicap, and she turns back to the woman. She goes, you're going to let a retard have a dog and not me? I'm normal. I deserve a dog. And I was like, I'll take the dog. I'll take the dog. Just, let's go. I'm gonna right now. Here's my money. You can have it.
Damn.
So yeah, the dog went home with me that day. I was like, there's no way I'm letting any person like this have any kind of an animal, because she deserves, I don't know, euthanasia or something, but not a dog.
Yes, seriously. Well done, sir. That was a good move on your part. Fuck.
Yeah,
so you've got a dog out of despite another worthless piece of shit human being.
Absolutely. Best spite purchase ever made, by the way. He's a great dog. So
nice. Okay, so it worked out good. It was a win-win.
Yeah. When you saw me, we're in my bedroom right now, and he likes to bury himself under the blanket. So it's always a surprise to jump to the bed. He sometimes is under there. It makes for some interesting moments, though. The lady comes over for the first time. She's like, pokes the blankets and it growls at her. So
nice. That's pretty funny. All right. So you and I met through a mutual friend, getting back to the origin story, when we were in, I think, the 2017 Necronomicon, the H.P. Lovecraft Literary Convention in Providence, Rhode Island in August.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. All right. So how
I
are...
have the badge actually hanging right...
Oh, cool. All right. I still have all mine as well. I've been going since they reinstated the convention in 2013. So, yeah, those are fun.
Great time.
Yeah, those are fun trips. Yeah, I would suggest anyone who's even remotely interested in H.P. Lovecraft to head out to Necronomicon. It's typically 4 days, Thursday through Sunday, around H.P. Lovecraft's birthday, which is the third week in August, and it's just a good time because it's such a small convention, and it's very intimate. The dealer rooms are small; they're not too large. It's not too overcrowded. It's a great city. It's a college town. It's clean for the most part. Yeah. So anyway, I would suggest. Hey, what's up, Nick? I would suggest checking that out. Absolutely. I heard about Gen Con being canceled. Yes, I'm not sad because fuck Gen Con.
What's Gen Con?
It was one of the original D&D conventions back. I think the first one was in I want to say the 70s, early 80s, but yeah, it's just too large and it's too much of a crush of people. I can't take it. It's any of these large conventions like PAX.
They've all been canceled so far, I think. I'm not sure.
Probably anything that's the Pulp Fest in, I think it was Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, somewhere in Pennsylvania. Pulp Fest. That's in August, and as far as I know, that's still on. I don't know. So I don't know what's I don't know what states are open and what are closed. Now you said that Florida is 50% open.
I believe that was the latest news so far. So yeah, I mean the restaurants around here, I'm in Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
And so I believe we were just told that restaurants and stuff can be open for 50% capacity, and so on and so forth. Beaches, I guess, are open on. We're open Monday, I think.
Okay. Yeah, our beaches are open as well, but the boardwalk is closed except for eateries. You can't really sit anywhere. It's still a huge clusterfuck. All right, so restaurants
and gym. Really left the house.
I can tell from the hair and the beard.
Yeah.
So
if you were having this show 9 days later, this is all going to be gone. I think I've got a haircut scheduled for.
Oh, nice.
May 29th. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. Mine has been. I haven't had a haircut since before Christmas, so it's getting pretty long. But all right. So, what's the deal with what happened with schools?
Oh, geez, we're all online now.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what's that?
I was going to say, what do you teach, and for how long are you online?
Oh, okay. So, you have the opportunity to set up a synchronous classroom or asynchronous classroom. Where you only on part of the day. I went with one of those. So I have like office hours a couple times a day, just in case someone needs to check in and ask questions. But we're only a week away from we're actually 9 days away from the end of school. So most of the kids have they've got everything locked down now. They know what they're doing, and so there's really no meeting with them anymore. They just get their assignments done and move on to the next thing.
Gotcha.
But it's all through Google Classroom, and we use Meets for everything else. So
okay,
a lot of learning on the fly. I'd never used this stuff before, March 13th. So it's been a pretty steep curve for some of my coworkers, I think, and
especially the IT departments.
Yeah, they've.
I'm sure you're driving them crazy.
Oh yeah, they've had to. There's one guy at the school. He is the IT department. And
shit.
Yes, he's been absolutely, I'm sure, just overwhelmed with questions and emails and things like that. They had to give out laptops to all the kids. That was a thing that happened. And now I believe our county's actually now looking at funding that. I think that's the rumor I heard. Looking at buying laptops for every student so that they can check one out to everyone in case this happens again, or they're forced to, pandemic it up again.
No, it's interesting. Does it seem to be working smoothly?
It's like hit or miss, honestly. It depends on the kid. because they all have different situations at home. Sometimes they have better access to technology or the internet, and their parents are, really on them to get the work done. And then other kids, I think they just their parents are like, just stay out of my way kind of thing at home, because they're also working. And so they're, I get kids turning in work at like 2 a.m, but class was supposed to be from 7:30 to 2:45 or whatever, like normal for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So it's class size or class time is limited, and it's a certain amount, and then kids are handing stuff in whenever they want for the most part.
Yes, absolutely. I think half the kids do their work like at 1 a.m. They sleep all day and then they're up all night. So just like night school.
Yeah, seriously. Now, is this going to continue through the summer into the fall, or is the schools in Florida planning on opening up even like halftime?
Well, I believe they've already canceled summer school for sure, so that they can address whatever they need to address for like cleaning the campuses and things like that.
Gotcha.
And then I believe they're winning, but I don't know when. I don't know what the actual time frame is, if they're going to delay the start of the school year, if we're going to start online. They haven't really gotten to us with that. I think they're having meetings about that, probably starting after they get through all the virtual graduate kids and stuff next week.
Gotcha. Okay. So things are slowly starting to open up. Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I hope they start up. This is really it's a weird way to do things. That face-to-face time is actually pretty valuable, is what we're seeing. Oh,
absolutely, in a variety of different venues. So let's segue it back into the Lovecraftian era. I remember you showed us, this is before we left the last convention, you had gotten a huge haul you had shown us on your phone. I forget where you got it. Someone had left it in their estate, and all these old like weird tales and a lot of the old H.P. Lovecraft stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some really cool stuff. Yeah, like that. If that's what you want to see.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's see what we got.
Break that shit out. This is good stuff. This is stuff from like the 40s.
I actually got something that's gonna melt your face here in a second.
Oh shit.
So, yeah.
Like the Ark of the Covenant or something.
Don't look at it. Close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
I'm actually a big like way into collecting this stuff now. And it's I have a friend. She's like an aunt. She kind of helped take care of me when I used to live in Rhode Island. Actually, that's where I was born, Providence, and we moved here when I was first grade, whenever that is, 7 years old. And so she lived in Providence her whole life, and she's been collecting stuff forever.
Oh, that's awesome.
In a day.
What year is that?
This was printed in. This is not from 1973.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But I have some of the older ones here.
Cool.
So there you go. This one's got Ray Bradbury in it.
Oh, sweet.
Great cover.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. This one comes from 1948.
Nice.
So
that's in good condition too. That's close to mint. Yeah,
they kept these things in stellar condition. I actually sold for the same people a set of comics, and they had whole runs of early Jack Kirby stuff. Like all his first stuff, just really great books. The first Swamp Thing.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like an 8, so that's like $800 right there.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just really good stuff. Let's see. There's one of these has. Let's see. Okay, so here's the thing that's going to melt your guy's face. I don't say that lately. All right, so in Rhode Island, back in the day, it was very common to find things like this, just kind of lying around. So that is a book of Italian history that came from somebody's library.
Oh, wow. Does that say the family library?
It does. It does. But what you need to be aware of is, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Can you all? Hang on. Sorry. Let me.
Oh, you fucked it all up. Oh, no fucking way.
Yes.
Wow.
Holy shit. That's awesome. Yeah. I got chills. That's great.
Yeah. And so there's a little stamp in there. I'm not sure where that came from, but this was, I think, marked. It looks like the nearest we can figure it was marked when they moved into the new house.
Wow.
On Angel Street. That's cool.
Angel Street. That's a good name.
Yep.
Yep. So that is one of a few of those. I have a couple of those too. So there's two others.
Okay. Did you get those appraised, or do you have a rough idea what they might be worth?
Haven't even looked. Never thought about it. Just put them in a safe place because they came from the same place as the Weird Tales and everything.
Gotcha. That's really cool.
Also got a bunch of the first Arkham House books and things like that from her. So just a ton of really awesome things that I'm probably never going to get rid of. Just passed on somebody else someday.
Yeah, that's a really great legacy.
Now I saw one of those at that Seller Stories book though. Seller Stories bookstore. They have there's someone else had a book that belonged to him.
Oh,
They were trying to offload it for several $1,000s. So,
yeah, wow.
If that's any indication, I don't know if it's ever going to sell for that, but that's what they thought it was worth. So that's all
nice. That's really cool.
So I also work part-time at a comic book shop, not just a teacher. So I also, we deal with a lot of stuff like that. So yeah, you always know that things are never really worth what people think they're worth.
That's true. That's true.
So.
Now I'm curious too about the comic book industry in general, like small comic book shops. You're working at one, so how are they doing? Like, what's the climate like now?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happened with all the Diamond stuff because that was pretty crazy. Where Diamond wasn't shipping the books and didn't pay people either. I guess there was kind of a hullabaloo about all that. I'm not really familiar with all the details, but just heard some general things. But we just got our first shipment in, and the store's been open since May 1st.
Oh shit! Okay.
And they've been just at 10 people in at a time. The gaming room that they have on the side is closed until next weekend, and then they should be back at pretty much full functionality, I guess, by the end of next week.
Okay.
But
cool. Now, do you
find shopping there? All
right. That's now. Were you doing like at any point when it was closed? Were you doing a curbside as well?
I wasn't involved at that time. I got furloughed because I'm just the weekend guy, so I don't really know what they were up to. I know they did do some deliveries to people, like subscribers and stuff, could call up and say, "Hey, I still have some books in my. Can you bring them over my house?"
That's cool. All right. And that brings me to another question. Well, that has nothing to do with any kind of pandemic bullshit. I've noticed with a lot of gaming stores, comic book stores and whatnot, they do have the gaming room. And one of the big things is Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering, almost like that's helping float the store.
Gaming is a big part of it. It's just as important as the comics. So it's actually the name of the store. It's like and gaming. But yeah, Friday nights are for Magic, and they stay until sometimes as late as 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh shit!
They'll start playing like at 7. And all different formats come into play. They have a draft, and they have the Commander League and everything else that they play. And then Sundays are Pokemon, and they have a pretty big showing for that too. So it's always a good time at the store. I mean, there's always something going on. Really, D&D's been the thing though. During the week, they pack out that room. They have as many people as I think. I walked in on a Monday, and they had like 45 people in the room.
Oh shit!
Different. Just everyone's surrounded with players with a GM. Like just tables full.
Gotcha.
Everyone's doing a different thing. So.
Okay. I remember a while back, this is like around 2010 or 11, I was doing the D&D encounters every now and then. I'd go to a comic book shop and drop in and do one of the, the quick campaigns. I haven't followed WotC in a while. They've just been a huge pain in the ass. But are they still doing that with comic book stores where they send product and you can go?
That is what they're doing. It's the Encounters League. I don't know if it's still the Encounters or if it's just taken on a life of its own with the league. But yeah, they definitely. That was the deal. Like that's where it started. It was an Encounters League.
Okay.
I know now they're doing something called West March, I guess, which is like a campaign that anyone can jump in on. So it's a big map that starts. It's like a wall of fog, fog of war, over the whole thing. So as they go in a different direction, they expose panels on the map and stuff, and they have adventures based on that. And so, they can just keep taking over, and any group can jump in and have a different adventure on the map. So that's what they're currently doing. Or that's what they were doing right before the whole thing happened, But
gotcha.
I'm pretty sure it came from the same people that were doing the Encounters groups. So okay, it's just a new format.
Gotcha. Now, how does it, as far as like revenue for the shop, how does that work? Is it almost like a movie theater where the comic book shop or the game store is relying on the customers and the players to purchase items while they're there, or are they taking like $5 or $10 a head?
It depends on the event. So like Friday Night Magic, they pay for their packs and then they pay for their prize support. Like they put money in, and then at the end they get like a pool of like packs and stuff that they get paid out towards the thing. So that's that's self-sufficient. And then, but with like D&D, they'll chip in $2 just for using the tables. And that was what they came up with when they pitched us the Encounter group. They're like, we want to do this, and we'll give you guys $2 a head, and blah blah blah. But really, they buy all their stuff from us. We sell minis, we sell the D&D books, and those are all $50 a shot. So and the figs are $5. So they buy all their stuff from us. The paints and everything else, and
gotcha.
Dice, you name it. Like we have everything they need. So that's where it comes. That's a good chunk of change comes from all that too, as far as the money that they make on the gamers.
Okay.
It always it's huge right now. So I don't know that would even be necessary because we sell out of those gaming books all the time because people are just really hot for D&D right now.
Why do you think that is?
Stranger Things.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. What a influx of fresh blood from a Netflix show.
Yeah, the parents see it and they're like, oh shit, I remember that, and then the kids see it and they're like, what the hell is that about? And they're like, let me show you. And now it's even easier to play than it used to be. Like they've 5e is dummy proof. So
yeah.
So it's like you just get it and go, and it's a good time. TJ, do you play? Oh, TJ, Rob, do you play any D&D, anything like that?
Basically with Vince and TJ, and that's about it.
Yeah, we have a once a month online game that we do like what we're doing now. We broadcast it. We have in fact our DM is should still be in the chat, Drew Bay, and he's an awesome DM. And then there's us three, and then 2 more players. So it's pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, Rob is
what kind of adventure are you guys having?
This is a homebrew. And we're 5th level. I think we're 6th level now. So
yeah, we're 6th now.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
And Rob, what kind of character are you? What do you do?
It's a tiefling warlock.
He likes to set shit on fire. He's pretty.
I've burned down half the town.
you literally did, yeah.
So not intentionally, but that's just kind of the direction it ended up going. So
those are the best stories, though. I mean, fire is like the best thing for D&D games. There's a guy at our local game store that comes in. They always it's like the old. We're talking like the old school gamers, right? Those guys, like they're in their late 60s, late 50s, and they're like, I remember when. So it's like this guy went to a con, and there was some dude who was running a game that he had spent years building, and it was a vampire story, right? And it's this haunted house, and you have to follow a vampire into his lair in the middle of the night. You got to go stake him, right? But the house is like full of traps, and no one's ever survived. And the guy was bragging about how he kills everyone in this encounter, this one shot that he does at the conventions. And so this old gamer guy tells us, well, tell you what he didn't do. We're like, what? He goes, he didn't fireproof the house. So instead of going into the house, they went back to town, got all the oil they could find, poured it into the windows, and set the house on fire and walked away.
That's pretty much what Rob does with his spells, yeah.
And then in the morning, they went back to the ashes, and they found the underground lair and pulled the vampire out when he was sleeping and, staked him. And the guy was just beside himself with fury because no one had ever beaten his, much less burn the house down. So.
Wow, yeah, the DM was not thinking about that option whatsoever. See, and that's the thing. When you're a DM, you have to think on your toes very, very, very quickly. So yeah, that learned him, I'm sure.
Yeah. Alternate story. I ran a game where my players murdered an old woman in a basement, and then decided to set fire to the house to cover up their crime, and then left on their adventure. And when they came back, they had in fact burned down half. When I rolled the percentage dice to see how much the village had burned down when they left, about half was gone when they returned. All the mud huts and stuff.
Nice. Oh, that's fucking fantastic.
But they did not get caught for murdering the old lady with the dementia-ridden old. It was like a scene out of Evil Dead or something. They were just being attacked by this old woman, and she was just very strong and crazy and whatever. But she was just the one with dementia, and that's
nice. I like it. I think you froze up there, so.
I think you did too.
Jesus, I don't feel so bad.
Oh,
shit! His Wi-Fi's all. There you go. You were all frozen. What were we saying?
I was saying it was like a scene out of the Evil Dead, except she just was a woman with dementia instead of a possessed woman. So they just really overreacted because that's what they were expecting from the game. So
gotcha. We have a question.
I just like playing with people's.
Fucking with people's heads. There you go. Now we have a question from Red Crusader in the chat. He wants to know your weirdest D&D story. Mine
personally, or anyone in the group?
Well, probably anyone in the group, but we'll start with you since you're the guest, and we're going to put you on the spot. So go.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not really weird, but all right. So, like I said, I like messing with people even as a player. And so I was playing in a game, a Dungeon Crawl Classics game. We were doing, I forget which module, but we were climbing on some tentacles and stuff. And I'd already played with one character, and he made it through, the first time. So this is my main guy, right? So I had a hireling, an NPC. And on the NPC sheet, I wrote a little backstory for the guy that he'd signed on to the crew for a very specific reason, and I didn't tell anyone. And so we get about halfway through the adventure, and we're climbing down the side of a bunch of tentacles, like they were like roped together, so they make like a giant column. Mm-hmm. And we're rappelling down the side. And one of the other hirelings fudges the roll and falls. So I'm like, I'll catch him. I catch him. And I roll, and it's a nat 20. I'm like, great. So I snag the guy. I bring him in nice and close. And I'm like, okay. And I tell the DM, I'm like, I'm going to hook the rope around my arm real good. And then with the other hand, I'm going to kind of like dangle the guy like this. And then I'm going to reach into his pocket. I'm going to start taking things out of his pocket, like grab his pouch, like with his oil and stuff.
What are you, Aaron Clary?
Yeah, I was about to say.
He goes, why? And I'm like, you'll see. And he goes, okay, well, I'll allow that. I said, great. Now I'm going to drop him. And I was like, what? So I just let him go. And they're like, you're gonna drop him. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna drop him. But before I do, I'm gonna whisper in his ear. And they're like, and the DM's like, what are you gonna whisper? I said, you shouldn't have fucked my sister. And then I let go. So on the sheet, I had written only joined the crew to only agreed to this because he was trying to avenge his sister's honor because her ex-boyfriend is also a hireling up in the crew. And I named the guy and everything. It just so happened that he fell. I was going to backstab him at some point. It's a murder test, but that's fantastic.
I like that. I've never heard something as devious and yet so timely. Perfect timing and situation. That's great. Well done.
So there was stunned silence at the table. Everyone's just looking at me, and the DM just whispers like, And then one of the other players just stands up and starts clapping, like just doing the
That
slow
deserves
clap.
a slow
And then
clap. Yeah.
He's like, that was so good, I need a cigarette. And then he left and had a smoke break. I mean, honestly, that's what happened. So.
Oh man, that's great. Now, nonstop DRE, he's in the chat. He wants to know, and we could all answer this as well. And I'll be brief. But how did Sal? How did you get started with D&D?
The same lady who got me all that awesome H.P. Lovecraft related memorabilia, took me to a convention, Dragon Con, no less.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, way back in the day, and like set me up on a D&D table. Like she signed me up for my first D&D for beginners. Like
that's
so
a cool. You had a cool end.
Yeah, and I was like I was a wizard.
All right.
I did a magic missile. You know,
Right.
it was great.
Of course,
I was like 7. You know, I didn't know. It was fantastic. I had a great time though. And then after that, when I got back, my dad would play with us because he was like into it a little bit. So he would mess with my brother and I. He would run little things for us once in a while.
Oh no shit, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I love those stories where the father, stepfather, whoever, somebody in the family does that for the kids or nephews or whatever. That's really cool.
My dad's awesome. Like just straight up, really good guy.
Nice.
So, Rob, TJ, you guys, come on. Weirdest D&D story and how you got into it. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Good, Rob.
Well, I got into D&D when I was like either 10 or 11. And it was just a friend of mine was into it. This was back like when AD&D first came out. And so he kind of got me into it. And he and I played with one or two other guys for about a year or so. And then after that, I kind of drifted away from D&D and never really came back to it until more recently with Vince, TJ, and some of these other guys I've been playing with. So I don't really have a weird D&D tale, but I do have a cyberpunk tale, Cyberpunk 2020, because that's the game I ended up really getting into. And it's because it's futuristic. It didn't involve a lot of magic or deities and demigods and all that. And it's technology and it's very brutal. The rules are very streamlined, very fast paced. And I can remember a buddy of mine, he had this character that he called Max Dugan. That was his name. We all just called him Dugan for short. And Dugan thought he was like this, I'm going to save the West guy, kind of almost like a paladin in a way. Well, he had a girlfriend, and me as the DM, I would always fuck with the player, the guy that had this character, because he got really invested in his character. And again, this is cyberpunk where anything can go and anything can happen in the blink of an eye and a roll of the dice. Well, that's what happened one day. Is Dugan and his woman were out, and literally random shit happened where I wasn't even planning it or trying. It was one of those, you just kind of roll with it, where he bumped into a guy who then took offense. Guns got drawn. The girlfriend gets killed. And then Dugan ends up killing the guy that killed the girlfriend. And now there's a massive manhunt. And Dugan goes from being like the hero to being like the ultimate villain, all within like 5 die rolls and a couple of just bad luck things. And it was the weirdest thing because of how rapidly it happened. And it was totally spontaneous. It was one of those, I was going to have him go somewhere and go do something else as part of the major plot. But because he was kind of dicking around, he bumped into a guy and it pissed the guy off. And it was just like 1, 2, 1, 2. When the die rolls came up, it was just these bad die rolls. And people just started dropping. And it's like, dude, your girlfriend just got shot in the head. You know, and of course he was
nice.
His character was devastated because that was his woman, you know, that was his thing. He had the one-itis going on. And you know, and he turned around and it was broad daylight and he fucking whips out his gun and shoots the guy right in the head. And I'm like, you realize, do a die roll. Not only did you have like a bunch of bystanders witness you murder this guy, but the cameras, because there's like drones, kind of like today, there was drone cameras flying around. It's like, you're now on the big screens on the TVs. and you now just became Night City's most wanted because that was the city he was in, was called Night City. It's like, dude, your face is all over the big screens. You're on the news in real time. You just became Night City's most wanted for murder. It was great. So that's my weirdest story because he was on top, and then all of a sudden, dude, you just became like the arch criminal. Good job. So,
Yeah, Cyberpunk is Rob's deal.
Yeah,
that's his.
Cyberpunk's great.
I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I played Shadowrun, and I've run Shadowrun.
And it's kind of like that.
Yeah,
kind of like Shadowrun, but Shadowrun's got a little more of the mystical and the magic in it, if I recall correctly. And
it does, yeah. There's
and Cyberpunk has none of that.
Shamans.
Yeah, Cyberpunk has none of that. It's all tech. It's all internet. It's all kind of real life, real time type of stuff, which is kind of why I like.
Isn't that that video game coming out, Cyberpunk 2077? Isn't that based on that same property? Just a little.
I have no idea, to be honest. I have no idea. Oh. It's been a few years since I've even played Cyberpunk. So the funny thing to me is I can remember when I first got into it, because when Cyberpunk very first came out, it was called Cyberpunk 2013. And then they did a second edition, which was Cyberpunk 2020. And at that time, this was back in the early 90s. And it's funny where now we are in 2020, and I'm like, it's not only do we not have flying cars like the Jetsons, it's like we don't have the cybernetics and shit that they have in Cyberpunk, man. What a jip.
Yeah, right. We got fucked
you
over.
Have you said it's Night City? That was the setting?
That was that is one of the
that's the video game is set in Night City.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Quick Wikipedia. So so there you go. So it's actually set in 2077 to give us flying cars. There you go.
Nice. Yeah, but the Night City was kind of, I want to say it's a module, but it's way bigger than that even, because Night
almost
City,
like an
American mega city in the free state of California.
Yeah,
it was more of a campaign setting.
Yeah, and even more than a campaign setting, it was almost like the Forgotten Realms in the sense that it was huge. And that's where most of my players played, was in Night City, because you had all these different sectors where you got the corporate sector and you got the upper class kind of like, you don't fuck around up here or you're going to get your ass killed or arrested. And then you had the combat zone where all the gangs were and all these other different areas. And depending on what was going on, you could go through 3-4 areas in one session where, God, you create enough problems, you got all kinds of people looking for you.
Yeah.
But Night City was where I liked to play, just because there was so many different venues and different things you could do. And depending on how bloody do you want to get, do you want to keep it kind of low key? Well, then you want to kind of hang in these areas. If you want to just go out and just get savage, go down into the combat zone. Even the cops don't go down there, so. Cool.
Now, TJ, your origin D&D story. How did you get started in D&D?
That was a long time ago.
Back 2 years ago.
I'd had a little bit of dabbling, like back in the 90s.
I can't hear him.
Oh,
you can't hear him? Yeah. Speak closer to the mic. God damn it.
You guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, TJ.
Yes, and let's talk in the really weird, creepy, wispy.
We're doing the ASMR thing. Stop it.
Anyways, so back in the 90s, they had D&D, but it was like the Star Wars version. Like whatever that was. I don't know what it was. I was just kid in middle school who was just going along with everybody else. So we did that for a couple of like games or whatever. And I guess my starship blew up. I guess that's how it ended. But then when Vince hit me up on Twitter and was like, "Oh, you want to come over to hang out in Gettysburg?" I was like, "Yeah." Always down to hang out with normal masculine men. It's such a Darth. So we were playing D&D, and I was like not quite sure what to expect, because it was a lot different from what Vince is an actual dungeon master, whereas opposed to when I was a kid, there was guys who were doing the dungeon mastering for Star Wars, but they kind of it was understanding like we didn't take it that not that Vince takes it deadly seriously, but you know, we never really got into it. It was still, you were just talking to a bunch of buddies.
Yeah.
But Vince really got us into whatever we were doing. He did all the preparation work and kind of knew what he was talking about and all that kind of stuff. So it was fun. It was fun playing it, and it's kind of the dynamic of actually, you know, collaborating with other people. And I work by myself. I work online by myself, so I don't have coworkers or all that other stuff. So that's why this was a kind of a break from my regular day. So the D&D sessions we've been doing has been it's been fun. I just need to be a little bit more. I think the thing that I've noted about D&D, and it depends on the dungeon master, it's really whatever you want to make it. It's not so restrictive where you just get bogged down in the rules. So
Right.
that's kind of what I like about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's usually been because I've been for my own origin story. I've been into Dungeons and Dragons. I've known it for quite a long time, since even before I was 10 years old. But I got my start with the initial Red Box set in 1982/1983, and that was just. It was because I always had, when I was a kid, had this creative energy that I didn't know what to do with it. Wild imagination, organizing, tag games and games of capture the flag, and then I was that kid in the neighborhood, and then I guess I got my initial start playing the dungeon board game and electronic Dungeons and Dragons and things of that nature. So that was sort of the gateway drug, was the dungeon board game, and then I would see.
Got all strung out on it.
I know, right? I literally became addicted to this game. But I would see the older students in the high school students, some of them in corners, these nerds, playing with the hardback first edition AD&D books. I'm like, oh, wow. And there was a bookstore in the mall next to the Sears where my parents would go shop. They would take us there, and they would go shop, and I would go in this bookstore called the Bookend. And on this end cap by the register was this one bay, like a magazine, where the magazines would go, but there was all D&D modules and books, and the Dragon magazine, and eventually the Dungeon magazine, and then some of the figurines and shit. And I was just, oh my God, I was in heaven. I would sit on the floor. I'm sure I pissed everybody off. I'd sit right on the floor and read through everything. And then when I got old enough to, have an allowance, and then my lawn mowing money and landscaping money when I was younger, I would buy all these D&D things and start painting the figures and whatnot. But yeah, I got my start DMing in 1983, and on and off since then. There was a hiatus where there's obviously several years where you're fucking around with women in your life and your job and all these other things, and that falls by the wayside. Then you come back to it, and then you fall away, and then you come back to it. So it's been an interesting ride. But yeah. And this was obviously before the internet. It's like, well, how I want to play these games, and I know you need at least two other people. Where do you find them? Fortunately, the other kids in my neighborhood were amenable to the fact, and my brother. So I DM'd my brother and two other kids, and every day in the summertime, we'd be under the carport of one. Our friend John, we'd be sitting out under this card table and be running games. And it's funny because I don't ever remember sitting there running the games being hot or humid or complaining about the weather. Just completely D&D was fantastic. So, but yeah, those were really great times growing up with that game. But it is interesting because now it's, if you want to learn how to play, you were just talking about some a friend of yours that's like, oh, how do I want this person to teach me how to play. I get the context of what you were saying, but if someone wants to know how to play, all they have to do is hop online, and they can watch. They can watch games and get the idea of how this
that's part of the reason it's so big right now. Is, I would say, Critical Role. Matt Mercer and them, like, that's the kids that I teach, they're so let me put it this way. At every school right now, high school, middle school, elementary school, they have a D&D club right now.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I am
that's great.
Right? I know. I run this thing called so it was the anime club, and I decided that that's way too restrictive, because honestly, what it was the two people and these two girls would sit people down and yell at them, sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. You're going to watch this fucking anime. That's what they would say. And I'd be like, you can't do that. I got to school, but you guys behave. Come on, what the hell's wrong with you?
Seriously.
You can't talk to them that way. They're not going to come back. So I was like, why don't we revamp this a little bit? So we made it the Pop Culture Association, which it's everything now. So if you're into K-pop, you can hang out with us. If you're into anime, sure. If you like D&D, great. If you're whatever your weird dorky kink is, your nerdiness, come on in. All right, we'll accommodate you. But from that, we this year they expanded into D&D.
Oh,
and
okay.
so after every club, I had 20 kids staying and running their own games and stuff. In fact, I ran Call of Cthulhu for 5e, the new Sandy Peterson Cthulhu.
Oh, no shit.
For 5e
that's great. That's cool.
I ran the first act of Ghoul Island for the kids, and they had a great time.
That's awesome. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Now, having said that, and you've run these, what is your favorite game to run?
Oh, Call of Cthulhu by far. But honestly, just really homebrew stuff. As long as the people you're playing with do not need rule structure, you know what I mean? Like they don't need like a specific die roll for everything. If they can just go with it. I like games like that where you can just kind of just free play. Like just kind of loosely ascribe a rule set to it, kind of deal.
Yeah.
For instance, I just ran a game my brother wanted to play. He's like, "Hey, I want to do something with The Shining. Can you run like a Shining kind of game?" So I was like, "Sure." So I made him a murder hobo. Like a straight up, every roll he had to do was just killing somebody. That was his deal. Like he had to get to the hell. And then the next guy that came into the store that wanted to play, he's like, "Can I jump in?" I'm like, "Sure." So I made him the person trying to figure out like what's going on at the hotel before the murder hobo got there, and fulfilled whatever crazy thing was going on at the hotel. And it worked out. Awesome. They had a really good time. Yeah, that's
cool. No, it's funny because Call of Cthulhu is abbreviated to COC, or I mean, I chuckle at it because it spells out cock. I mean, come on, let's face it. So Red Crusader, I just put up in the chat on the banner. Red Crusader says, "I've been wanting to play a short game of cock." So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Red Crusader, I got something for you. If you go on Roll20 right now, you can find all the cock you need.
There you go.
They actually have a free module to play right now called what is it? I honestly I can't. It's about a lighthouse, the Lightless Lighthouse, or I don't know, something like that. But some weird name for it. I can look it up. But if you it's a free module. And it has everything you need to play. It's like one of the starter modules. It's a campaign setting that they run. And it only takes an hour and a half to play, 2 hours tops.
Okay.
So if he goes on there, but you can also find that on Chaosium's website for free. They have a bunch of stuff for people to run right now.
Nice.
None of the things are happening. Gen Con, none of those are happening. So bunch of free stuff for people to run with their friends. And if you let them know that you're running it, like at a comic book shop or at a library or something, it'll give you points, I think, that you can then cash in to get merchandise from Chaosium. Which we hung out with some of those guys at the last con too. You and I.
We did, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they were a good group of guys. So I don't mind plugging them at all. They were a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And speaking of the con, I've been very remiss in my friendship duties. How's Pete been?
Pete's great. We're going fishing on Sunday. And booking on Saturday. So.
You fucking dickheads! God damn it!
Remind me later. I'll send you pictures of the fish we caught last week. But when you come visit, man, we'll take you.
Bitch. All right, I gotta come out there next month. I'm doing it. Fuck it.
Come on
I've got so many flight miles from Southwest. I could just fly everywhere in the United States for just all year for free. So.
At this point, you probably have like a one-person flight too, like just you and one other guy.
I was just going to
Florida, so.
Pretty much, yeah. I think I have to do that. Come down fishing because I remember when I was out there, like it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Pete and I went fishing. That was great.
Off the boat, right? The seahorse.
Yep.
Same place, same guy, same everything. That's what we just were there.
Okay.
Yeah, we took my father actually. He caught the world's biggest porgy. Well, this week's biggest porgy. But
Yeah, right. Nice.
Normally they're
cool.
like this big. Like that's not a lie, but like seriously, the one he caught was, and this is not exception, it was like this big. He got
that's like 2
steaks
feet.
worth of. Yeah, he got like 2 steaks worth of like fish off the side of it. It was great, like 2 gigantic fillets.
Oh, that's great.
We had some fish tacos.
I'll bet. Fuck. What's the weather like down there now?
Well, right now, actually, I could ask Google if you want, but it rained a little bit today. It's like 75 out right now.
You really haven't been outside. Holy shit.
It's like it rained. It's been raining all day on and off. But in the morning it was perfect, and then between like 4 and 5 it was really nice too. And then it started raining a little bit again this evening. But it's been perfect out the last couple of days. Like high 70s, nice breeze, sunny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just Alec in the chat just said, "Open the curtain, you bum."
It's nighttime.
Exactly. Yes. We're on everyone. We're on the East Coast, so it's still light where Rob and TJ are.
I will open the curtain for Alec though. There you go.
There you go, Alec. There's a curtain. You get the fucking shades and
Nighttime.
Alec is over in he's over in Middle Earth. He's in New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's in Hobbiton.
It's already tomorrow there.
He's a hobbit.
There's no bagans around here.
Yeah, it's still early in the evening, buddy, over here.
Yeah. It's 9:55. It's almost 10. Speaking of which, Rob, you might as well do your spiel.
Oh, hey guys, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe. Don't be a pansy poser, a wimp weeb, or a wussy. Hit the like button.
There you go.
Come on, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
We got to get out. We got to get out of here.
Do it.
That's right. So, are you in any aside from obviously you can't things going on at school? Are you in any online games right now, or?
Just some stuff with like we've been doing like a Saturday night thing once a month, at the comic shop for a while with my friends, and we recently switched over to Roll20 for that. So it's been like twice a month now, which is pretty fun.
Okay, how do you? I've never used it. How do you find Roll20? I've never used it.
Oh, it's hit or miss. I mean, sometimes it's like it. I don't know. It depends if the person who's running the stuff has put a lot of prep into, the maps and everything. It's a lot of fun. There's dynamic lighting. It's almost like playing a video game that someone's narrating, kind of thing. So it's interesting. But then sometimes the connection problems and stuff with everyone, like you'll just drop suddenly from the game, or you can't hear anyone, or there's a slowdown because everyone's trying to use it at the same time.
Yeah.
Nighttime's. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Let's play a game. So it's like suddenly they go from you start a game at 7, and it's fine, and then at 9 o'clock it just kind of slows down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob,
it's good.
Okay. Rob brings up a good point because in the 80s playing, there was no, you had no camera phones, no recording anything. There was you were.
It didn't happen. No pictures. It never happened.
Yeah, I mean, you remember the old Kodak Insta photos? I have.
Oh, yeah, I have some of that shit.
I have.
You never did the dumb shit that the kids do today.
No. But I do have old D&D games. There was a convention we went out to in 1991 called CocoCon in this small town. Not even a town. It was like a hotel, a gas station, and a convenience store in the mountains in Pennsylvania. It was like, what the fuck? But it was a 3-day convention right after Christmas. It was like the 27th through the 29th. And that was just fun. But we got pictures of people passed out in the convention room with pizza boxes on their face. In the middle of the night. We played an all-night D&D game. It was just really fun because it was a small convention. And those are the conventions I like to go to. They're few and far between now. But that's the best.
I think that'd be the opposite because they're all saying,
We had a small one here that was picking up steam a little. It was called PalmCon. But recently it moved to a cruise style convention.
Okay.
Which was I didn't do that, but I was like, it seems interesting. I guess it went off pretty well, but that's what they're doing now. But it was at the local convention center here, and then now it's like I guess they went out to the Bahamas and back. Obviously, I think with all this stuff, I don't know if that happens again, but you know,
yeah,
safety concerns or what have you.
Exactly. A friend of mine just did that right before all this shit went down. It was in February. He flew out to New Orleans and then took a cruise ship out to the Bahamas and whatnot, or not the Bahamas, the whatever Caribbean was that. I forget the point that he went to, and he and most of the attendees of the con were sick, and he swears he had the virus.
Oh, probably.
Then,
I mean,
it goes back as far.
January.
Even before that, people were talking about stuff going back as far as like August, September, October of last year. So
it's totally possible. I have no idea. You know, I was trying to follow all the stuff, and then it just got to be so confused, you know, because everyone's saying different things. Like there's no
right.
There's different surveys, different charts, different information popping up everywhere. So I've been trying to just keep I sample different news sites to see what everyone's saying, and then if they all match up on one thing, I take that as kind of the accepted, like maybe that's probably accurate, you know, because they're all saying that thing, and then you know, but other than that, it's just very hard to. And I teach journalism, so you know, it's like really hard to. And my kids are all asking me like, how can they be doing this? You teach us about being unbiased and stuff, but none of this is unbiased reporting that's happening right now. I'm like, guys, this is just what the media is. I can tell you how you should be, but I can't tell you how they are going to be, you know, and that's just, it's very political.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I do know that I got very sick back in February, and a whole bunch of it went through the whole school, and it was incredibly similar to the stuff that they were saying you get with early onset stuff for COVID. Now, I haven't gotten tested for antibodies or anything like that, but it's very well, it could have already made rounds through here as like the precursor to the flu. Because I got a high fever, I was coughing a lot for a couple of days, and then it just went away. You know, it was really bad. I got sent home from school. I showed up and they're like, "You look feverish. Go to the nurse." So I got the thermometer in the mouth and like, get the hell out. You have to go home. You're a 1 of 3. Get out of here. Go.
You're gone.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
You're going home, man. I'm like, all right. I tried.
Right. So what as far as your teaching experience and your whole like the longevity of that, how long have you been teaching?
This is year 13.
Okay. And it started with journalism?
I started when I was I went to a school here in West Palm. Real small school. You know, when I was graduating, I did pretty well as far as grades went, and so it was just a matter of like the different schools were saying, "Hey, we'll give you this much money to come here," and blah blah blah. And the best one was we got the Palm Beach Atlantic University, which is a small Christian school down the street from where I grew up. Said, "We'll give you this much money and pay for everything else." And I was like, "Fine. What do I have to do?" They're like, "You have to go to church once a week." I'm like, "Okay, that's it. Done. I'm in." So I actually got a degree in journalism, and then when I graduated, I just happened to be coaching volleyball with a couple of people at the school that I knew. You know, girls volleyball to start, and then I was going to do the boys in the fall. In the spring, and the lady who was teaching journalism quit while I happened to be coaching one day, and they're like, "Hey, do you want a job?" And I'm like, "Yes." And so that was that. You know, I got hired on shortly after, and it's been ever since. But yeah, prior to that, I was actually looking for a job in journalism, you know, trying to figure out something there. But then this happened right after I graduated. So,
okay,
you know, you don't turn down a salary job with insurance, you know, when you're 22 and you know have no prospects. Don't
look a gift horse in the mouth. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So 13 years on, here we are.
Cool. You and MonsterCon sounds like a great place to stab somebody without getting new. It's funny because MonsterCon is several. Chris Von Erich was in the chat mentioning that it's in Haddonfield. I'm several towns over from that. Every year I plan to go, something comes up, and I wind up doing that instead. So MonsterCon, I basically fuck MonsterCon over. I've never gone. I have friends that are avid convention goers for the horror sci-fi convention kind of stuff, and they love to do that. And they always tell me, "Oh, this is great. You missed this person," and blah blah. I'm like, okay, I'll get to it sometime. And I think they do it, if I'm not mistaken, Chris, they do it twice a year. I think once, well, not this summer, and then I think they do it again in the fall, like October. But don't quote me on that. I'm not quite sure. I have to look that up. It is now. It's so oversold. Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It happens over a weekend. I think it's 2 days. It's Saturday and Sunday. So when cons, if you follow the con circuit or just or do your research, like I want to check this stuff out, and you find a small convention, go to them. Do the small conventions because they're fun. You're not going to get. You're not going to wait in like a long shitty line. They're short. They're usually just a weekend. You can drive to it. You can hang out for the day and then leave. It's cool. You get to meet people, and it's not this huge crush of humanity where you just feel like you're in a mall at Christmas time, wandering around like what the fuck. So yeah, I stick to the small ones. Stick to the small ones. Yeah, and I think there might be a website database that lists all the conventions. I mean, if there isn't, there should be one. I'm sure there is, though. You can look that up.
Obviously, don't do Comic Con, don't do Fan Con or Fan X Con because they're all overhyped, oversold. Too many weirdos and just people that want to be seen. It's kind of like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like what has happened with Sturgis. For a while, for a lot of years, Sturgis was kind of somewhere to go and see a lot of cool stuff and a lot of freaks and whatnot. Now it's just a fucking zoo. And it's like, don't even bother. It's like, fuck that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Red agrees too. Yeah, the small conventions are really cool.
I can pitch this actually. This shirt I'm wearing right here. This is from the Overlook Film Festival.
Cool.
Which is it started in Colorado as the Stanley Film Festival at the hotel where The Shining was written.
Oh no shit!
As a horror film festival, and then
that's cool.
And then it moved up to Oregon, and now it's in New Orleans. Actually, the last couple of years, it's been right out of the downtown, the historic district there.
Nice.
The French Square. So but yeah, it was amazing. I went there this time last year. Actually, I was just keying up to go. My dad and I went. I took my father to the film festival.
Nice.
And I made him go to One Cut of the Dead actually, which was totally a shot in the dark. Yeah, he loved it. Absolutely, okay. We were quoting it, and then we also saw Come to Daddy and Men Elijah Wood. Actually,
nice.
Cool. I don't know if you guys have heard of that movie, Come to Daddy. It's bonkers. It's a great time. It really is. It's just blackly humorous, and it's I think you can get it on video on demand right now, but you probably stream it for free if you want to. But looking around to make sure the FAA is not watching. But but no, it's hysterical. It's great. It really is. It goes places you do not expect it, and it really is a funny little film. But we love that. The one we did not like actually was the closing night movie, which was The Lodge, which was a horror film by the people that did that. The Eyes of My Mother or something like that. I forget. It was like I'm talking about like an old. It's kind of like a artsy horror film, but this one was just not what we were expecting, and at the end we were just very disappointed with the whole deal. But we saw a couple really great films though while we were there, and obviously just walking around New Orleans with your old man is just a great time too. A bunch of drinks in various rooftop bars and stuff. It's a great time.
Absolutely,
I totally recommend it. Great experience if you guys are into that kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
cool.
And they run an alternate reality game the entire time you're there too.
Wow, really?
Sign up for. Yeah, it's like a 4-day thing, and they send you all around. They set up little pop-up shops and stuff all around New Orleans that you can go check out. And some of the shops actually play along too. They'll give you clues and stuff if you walk in and say the right things.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a huge open-air Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of thing.
a little bit, yeah. It's a really good time.
Nice.
I can't overstate it. It's a lot like Necronomicon, actually. It's that same kind of feel to it.
Gotcha. Drew says avoid furry cons. I have no experience with that stuff. I mean, I'm the last person to judge anyone's fucking fetish. I do not care.
You search for
go on with your bad self. I don't care. But I never really kind of understood the whole furry thing. I just never. I'm like, what the fuck? Just I like.
Listen, man. Some people like fishnets. Other people like people dressed up as squirrels. You know, it's like
How could you be? How could you like not be
Uh.
sweating your fucking ass off in those things? Unless that's part of the whole like appeal.
It's
like,
got to be part of the whole thing. Unless you build like an air conditioning in there. You know, it's like
yeah,
you can do whatever you want. This suit's got air built in. You know, it's fine.
like fans and shit. I know it's too fucking funny. Nick says Drew sounds like he has some experience with that. That's funny.
The last big con I went to is actually I saw the cast members of the X-Files at what was it? Oh, I can't remember the name of the convention. It's a big horror con here in Florida. Can't remember the name of it.
I don't know.
But yeah, I did. I hung out with a cigarette smoking man. That was such an awkward thing. Yeah, William Davis was like, I'm like, hey, I kind of want a picture with you guys. He's like, so what's up? I thought it was just like take a picture and leave. He's trying to make a conversation with me. I didn't know what to say to him. It was really awkward. And then I walked up to the front of the line just so I could hear Gillian Anderson talk.
Oh, right.
You know, because, gosh, she was gorgeous then. I tell you what, though, in person, she's stunning. Like, just. It's like she's jaw-droppingly stunning.
She's actually aged very, very well.
Yeah,
and she takes care of herself.
She's hot.
And to Company, he is handsome as fuck.
Yeah,
up close. Like seriously, the two of them, they're just like such a good-looking pair. Even now, like 20 years on, like Jesus, like they're just they both have just aged like fine wine. The two of them.
Yeah.
But like she's something else, man. She was talking to the fans. I was like, I gotta go. I'm out. I
gotta go take care of this hard on. I'm gonna go take a shower now.
I just went and hung out with Tony Todd instead. It's like I gotta go. I'm gonna ask this guy about candy, man.
Furries are probably all ugly. That's why they have to wear costumes.
Dude, that kind of stuff is like, yeah, that's why we invented the automatic rifle. God. Like the only thing
kids that
the furry cons originate in the
they're very normal looking kids. Like honestly, like you would not expect it, but they're totally about it. Like they're building their fursuits now, and you're just like, oh,
they're building their. What was this like? It's like the string bands in Philadelphia where they start building their stuff.
You gotta like make your own suit or something, or else you're not legit. I don't know. There's like a whole thing. If someone was trying to explain it to me, I tuned out.
You can't buy a fat squirrel costume.
Apparently not. Apparently you're not legit if you don't do it yourself. I don't really know. Like there's a whole thing. I don't know.
Just like,
maybe someone in the chat knows better than me, but the kid tried to explain it to me, and I was like, no.
Wow.
It was enough that I figured what he was drawing on my board was actually a symbol for I'm a furry. So I've been erasing that like for the whole semester. I figured out what that was fine. I was like, nope.
All right. So Red Crusader says yes. Furries are like portable glory holes. I wouldn't know that, but I suppose they could be. Nick's like, I don't even like chicks who don't shave. That is true. I prefer the bare floors. Absolutely.
Dude, oh my God. It's like starting out. It's like a gateway drug, right? Then you find.
Well, I still wouldn't know. I mean,
I wouldn't know either. I'm just like. People are like, oh, you're more of a live and let live libertarian type guy.
I cannot hear TJ again, but I see that he's talking.
Vince is like, I'm the last person to judge a person's fetish. I'm like, I'm the first person to be like, yeah, eliminate them from society.
TJ's like is like Grand Torquemada from the Inquisition.
Burn them all with fire.
Let him burn.
No, Rob's let him burn.
I'm let them burn, but TJ's like, burn them with cleansing fire.
Portable glory holes winning. So, Nonstop Deary wants to know, what's the weirdest con that exists? That would be most likely fetish cons.
It's got to be.
Events, yeah, most likely.
It's got to be. It's got to be some kind of fetish ball.
Yeah.
There's actually a giant one in Miami that happens. I have a couple friends that went this year, and yeah, the pictures they sent were mind-boggling. How do they achieve some of the physics like in the pictures? Like some of the stuff they're doing are just crazy. I
have to visit this. I have to visit this. I got to go to this convention. It's right up my alley. Cool.
I had I saw a bunch of pictures of people suspensions and stuff. You know, like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I'm quite familiar with that and the rope rigging that is involved. I've done some myself, so it's quite the art. I'm enjoying practicing with it. So yeah, we'll do that for another show. But yeah, so yeah, go ahead, DJ. No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, okay, so if we're not, if you guys are gonna say it's like, what about bronies, right? Guys.
Oh yeah, the My Little Pony fuckers.
Oh my god.
Bronies. Oh man. So my first week working at the comic shop, I had some dude walk in, and he comes up to me and he's looking around the shop and he's like, he walks up, he gets real close, like uncomfortably close, like this, and he's like, with big wide eyes, he wants to look right in the camera. He goes, "Hey man, can we have like a BronyCon here?"
Like, Jesus Christ.
No.
I'm like, I don't know. I could run it past the manager.
You should have shut that shit.
Hey, could you give us a TV we could use? You know?
What the?
A pistol you could use.
I don't know about that. You might have to bring your own TV. Is it cool if we use the back room?
Whoa!
No.
Whoa! Time out.
Nope, we're done.
Yeah,
That's not gonna happen.
get the fuck out of here.
It's like, I'll give you one bullet in the chamber. I'll even
real quick. I'm like, nah.
Good.
It's like a private bathroom. I'm like, no.
Oof.
That's crazy. Nope. How does someone get into that type of thing? I
talk
don't know.
Very too many times.
They're probably.
There's a documentary about bronies. You can watch that. It tells you.
Wait, what?
There's a brony documentary.
Jesus Christ!
You want to know how people get into it? It's right there for you to see.
All right, there you go. I'm not even googling that. If you guys want to know about bronies, apparently, according to Sal, there is a documentary on it. Go Google that shit your damn self. Jesus Christ! That's too funny.
Here, I'll tell you what the title is.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Everyone's gonna want to know.
We'll find out that they have a restaurant in Taiwan.
It probably is.
Bronies, the extremely unexpected adult fans of My Little Pony. That's the whole title.
Oh my god.
Oof.
Oh Jesus. No, I don't find fetish cons weird at all, Joe. That's like I said. Those are my people.
Fetish cons are normal. Like we have Miami, but I'm from South Florida. We're full of just the weirdest stuff. But fetish cons,
South Florida is almost.
We get the porn con.
It's almost as bad as Germany. Yeah.
the adult entertainment convention comes every year.
We have that in it's not Eroticon. Oh fuck! It's in Edison, New Jersey, and I've been to that a few times. That's
it's not even a convention. It's really the talent meeting. It's like the giant show where all the new talent gets introduced and stuff, and and people come there to sign contracts and stuff. They're like, oh hey, I want to be a porn star. Can we do this? People show up to give their CVs at those things.
They do their auditions. So. It's like, let me take in the back here. There you go. Nice.
Fucking Drew, you're killing
somebody
me.
Fucking back there? Well, not right now, but 5 minutes ago, yeah. Don't worry, we mopped it up already. It's fine.
There you go. It comes streaks. You have to
we got the spooge in a bucket. It's all good. God.
I think that Sal already.
What was the weirdest group or customer you came across?
I think that brony story was probably the weirdest. No.
No.
Oh shit.
No, that's not the weirdest. The weirdest was some guy who came in asking for hentai. And he just wouldn't let it go, and I told him we didn't have any, but he kept he's like, no, but you guys used to have it, are you sure it's not here anymore? Seriously.
You hide it from me.
He came wearing an overcoat, I'm like, this is just super awkward. He was breathing real heavy, just in a state, and I was just like, what is going on, But no, the weirdest group of people that we have come in are the people. So being in South Florida, sometimes you get people that they're here because they came from like New Jersey or some other state because
Those
of
people.
heroin or various related. So we get sometimes we get customers in that are they're obviously relapsing, and those are definitely the weirdest experiences that we have experiences that I've had.
There's two.
And so I had a guy come in.
Freudian slip.
I had a guy come in telling me his hands were covered in blood in glass, and he just told me that he just broke a $2,000 mirror in an elevator, and then he walked over to the comic shop from that at a hotel. So we're trying to discreetly call, emergency services to have them come check this guy out because he's hurt.
Shit.
In our store. He wanted to see all the Spawn comics, and so he was just stopping back and forth and like telling me all about how Spawn is greater than God and the devil, and how the devil is greater than God, and like this really intense. And then he's talking about love and how he was in love once 5 minutes ago. She broke his heart because she wouldn't give him heroin. And like just on and on, and like just all this stuff.
You broke my heroin heart.
Just went off, and he was just going crazy. And we're like, okay. And then finally he left. He just left and started walking, and like he gets to the road and he turned, he looked left and right, and then he walks across the street in the median, and then just starts heading like, north on the road that we're on, just walking down the street. And the cops showed up and were like, he went that way. So I guess they managed to corral him. But they were looking for him for the property damage. He really had broken $2,000 worth of mirrors in an elevator because this girl told him she didn't want to give him heroin.
Oh shit.
So that happened. Yeah. He was very honest about the whole thing, but he was we had a couple situations like that, and those are always super intense. Also, the woman who lost her daughter, her grown daughter, her 35-year-old grown daughter. This woman kept coming to our store over the course of a day because I guess she was just having a moment. I'm not really sure what the deal was, but she kept asking us, "Is my daughter here? I know she's here. Let me come in and look for her." So she'd come in and search the store, and then she'd leave. And like the Palm Tram would come and get her, which is like the bus system around here. And for people that have disabilities, they come and pick you up. So she was just getting driven around because she's on disability. And she came back to the shop probably 8 times that day looking for her daughter, who was in Disney. Just had for the weekend gone to Disney, and the lady had slipped the caretaker and been looking for her daughter the whole time.
My God.
So just stuff like that happens often at the shop. But just fun stuff. We got accused of kidnapping a kid once because the kid went home with friends from a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Yu-Gi-Oh's happened on Saturday, by the way. And my coworker, this woman pulled up, and she's like, "I know he's in there. Let me in there." It's like, "There's no one in here except for us." And she's like, "Who's us?" And he goes, "My coworker and I. We're doing the register right now. You have to go away. We're putting the money in the safe." And she's like, "No, I'm coming in." She tried to kick the door in. So my friend locked the door on her. And then 5 minutes later, like 10 police officers showed up and tried to they were banging on the door, trying to get in. So we let them in. They swarmed the place. They walked in. They're like, "We were told that a kid was in here and being held against his will. So can we just look around?" We're like, "Yeah, sure." So they searched the place.
That's the last place a kid's going to be held against his will. A comic book shop.
Yeah.
In the middle of them searching the place, the kid gets dropped off by his friends.
We've got a man who's being held against his will inside of a.
And then his dad pulled up to get him, and the mom's there freaking out because they were divorced. So yeah, we have a lot of weird experiences there, but the bronies, not necessarily the weirdest.
Apparently not. No,
honestly, comic book collectors are the weirdest.
I would agree with that. Yes, they are.
Really? Do tell.
What's that?
You froze up, and TJ said, "Do tell." Comic book people being the weirdest.
So they'll come in. I've got this one. There's customers that will come in and they'll be like, "Okay, I need all the number ones of this comic that you have on the shelf." And then they come in and they're like, they try and buy them all. And you're like, "Well, you can't have them all. Someone else needs to have access to some of those." But they get really mad at you when you tell them that. And then if the corners aren't 100% right, or if there's even like a crinkle, like, or the perception of a crinkle, they come at you that way for it. They're just very, diehard collectors are just very, very, very strange people. I had one guy tell me I couldn't touch his books to ring them up. So like I had to have him hold up each book so I could see the price, one at a time. And stuff. And I'm just like,
have you ever been
OCD or what? Jesus.
No, that's
yeah.
Yeah.
And then another person will come and he has a subscription list with us, but he takes his books and he puts half of the books back every time. But he just hides them in places, like all over the shelves and stuff. So after he leaves, we have to go and like search because we know what he did.
Yep.
He goes back, but he switches them out a different half of them. So he gets the same amount of books, but he just picks up different books instead of the half that he doesn't want. Like he evaluates them all and he gets another 12 books instead of the 12 he didn't want. But he hides them in places, so we have to go find them, because the boss flips out if there's stuff out of order.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. Then there's the people that come and they reorganize your back issues, but they don't know how the alphabet works. So like they do it backwards or upside down or like,
flipped around or something.
Yeah. I had someone start. So A is here, the tab, and so you'd start A and then from behind you'd go AA and then on back to AZ, right? Like that's how that should work to be. No, they start at AZ and they work AZ from the front towards the A tab. And I've never seen that done before, but I guess people do it. I don't really know, but like, it's just bizarre. One of my coworkers at one point, we're pretty sure that they may have been illiterate. We'll tell you if it's a guy or a girl, but we're pretty sure they somehow got a comic shop job without knowing the alphabet. Just because when they would file stuff, it was always out of order, like not even close. Like they put the title "Witch" with 2 V's, like in BV. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just bizarre stuff. But yeah, it's a weird place to work. It really is. It's fun.
That's comic shops. It's a weird place to work.
And you wouldn't think. On face value, you wouldn't think. And that's one. I've worked a lot of jobs, but that's one place I have not worked. A retail comic book shop. Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's a blast. Like honestly, it's something new every weekend. It's really something to do. Like, are you sad that you work Saturdays? You don't have a life. What's up? He's also from Florida.
He is from. Yeah, there's a couple people from Florida in the house.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
But yeah, it's I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it's a bizarre second job to have. Honestly, it really is just one of those things.
If you ever decide to write a novel or write some short stories or something, and I don't know if you have, I think you were talking about doing so. You've got some good like story plot fodder.
I really do. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there a story of a comic book shop in the future? Perhaps. Yeah.
Right.
I may already have the idea. Might end badly for the Magic players. We'll see.
Nice.
What was that last one? I didn't catch.
Let's see. I'll put that back up. There you go. You all know I'm a weird mofo. I just don't go full retard like some of these spurgs.
I see. I thought it said full retail for a second. I'm like, what?
All right. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, there are people out there that have absolutely no social acuity whatsoever, and they will congregate. Good.
So okay. So working at the comic shop, I'm a school teacher, and I do work with handicapped students, all the time, and I enjoy that actually. I love working with. You guys probably think I'm laughing. I'm making. No, I'm serious. Like some of these kids, these kids with disabilities, they're just the most rewarding kids to work with.
Honestly. No.
It really is true. Yeah.
Not laughing about that.
No. When you said handicap, one of our good buddies we always bust on, but we considered him mentally handicapped. He's
a bit special.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know. I mean, people laugh when you say stuff like that because they think you're joking. But no, I'm being serious. Like it's really a rewarding experience working with these kids.
Oh yeah, that's different. Yeah.
but the adult versions, they show up to the store, you know, and it's just
Yeah.
like
that's completely
Now-
different. That's completely different. Yeah.
and so you're like working with some of these kids, and they have like these skill sets, you know, like they're polite, and you know they do these this and this and this, and but sometimes when they become full adults, that goes away.
Yeah.
It gets replaced with a sense of privilege. So it's really funny when some of these older people come in and they just start demanding things for you, and you don't know really how to handle that the first time it happens. You know, so it's like it's this strange experience because you don't know what they actually want. You know, they're just yelling at you, and you don't know why they're yelling. You don't know what's happening, and the reaction is to like, you know, to fight back. And then you realize, no, this person isn't he's not thinking the same way that I'm thinking. You know, we're not seeing things the same way. Is really what it comes down to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just whatever the lens they're seeing it from, whatever disability that happens to be, or different perception if they're on drugs or whatever. You just kind of have to meet them there. So that's like definitely a skill that I've learned you know, during this time. You know what I mean? Like, so we have a guy who comes in, he's all about Godzilla, totally on the spectrum, full Asperger's. Came to the store one time after hitting someone with a car. Like,
Wait, he hit someone with a car and went right to the store?
Yes, he hit a kid and he drove to the comic shop. He came and told me all about it. He's like, I ran over a kid. I'm like, you ran over a kid? He goes, no, I didn't run him over. This kid. He's like, this kid hit my car, and then he rode away on his motorcycle, on his bike. I'm sorry, not motorcycle, on his bike. There was a bunch of kids in traffic, and one of them fell on the hood of his car and then rode away.
Oh, okay.
And like, so somebody saw this though. They followed him to the comic shop, and they were friends with the kid's mom. So they called mom. So he's in the shop telling me about this. So we're trying to call 911, the non-emergency number, to report what happened. And all of a sudden, the mom shows up with cops. They arrest the guy for his protection because mom's trying to beat him up. Like, just like going after him. And like, it's just insane. And the guy's like, he's full ass. Like, he just came in looking for Godzilla comics. You know, like that's all he wanted that day. Like, he was there for. And on his way to the shop, this terrible thing happened to him. You know, it's just like.
But he didn't deviate. It was like, you know, I got to watch Wapner at 10 o'clock or whatever. You got to get the your underwear at Kmart.
He was. I don't know why he didn't stop. You know.
That is fucking funny. Oh, shit. So Nonstop wants to know what was the best thing what's the best thing, or the most enjoyable thing that happened to you, or what you saw in a comic book shop that just stands out.
Let's see. One of the most enjoyable times I actually got to hang out with I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Neil Adams. I got to hang out with Neil Adams at the comic shop.
Why does it sound familiar?
He's a famous artist. He drew a lot of like classic Batman stuff.
Oh, okay.
And Green Lantern and things like that. Like you grew up reading his comics. That's why he's familiar. Like,
gotcha.
He's
Okay.
huge.
Gotcha.
And
TJ, mute your fucking microphone.
Seriously.
God.
Hey, we can't. Hang on. I can handle that from here. Let me just mute his mic. Jesus, it sounds like he's killing somebody back there.
He's wrestling with bears again. God damn it.
His microphone is
that was one of the best times that I've had there. I got to like be personal bodyguard for Neil Adams, you know, so he's doing a signing there, and he's telling me all these. The cool thing about that was that he was telling me all these stories about coming up with like Stan Lee and all those people. You know what I mean? Like he knew all those people, and he was friends with them, and he had stories about all of them, and industry stories and things like that.
That's in regard to TJ's his microphone's pointing the fucking wrong way.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then also, the other great thing about working there is that our owner has this just incredible sense for collections. And in South Florida, there's a lot of like older comic book collectors that, you know, when they pass away, the widows sell off the strip of the comics, or they've retired and they want to make some money, so they sell off these incredible collections. So I held in my hands to process some of like the rarest books you've ever heard of.
Wow.
I've seen an Action Comics #3. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Not #1, but it's the third one. You know what I mean? I've held Action Comics number 6 in my hands. I've held the first appearance of Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy, like 3 or 4 times. That's come through the store. You know what I mean? Like the first appearance of the Penguin, we just saw one of those, like in the Golden Age appearance. Like just really, it's like working in a museum. Honestly, it's just like some of the coolest shit. And I've been able to collect books like that too. I've got a bunch of, I've got the first 9 Shotgun Suspense stories from EC.
Shit.
Yeah, I just finished collecting those from the owner, and a bunch of like really early run Weird Tales, Vault of Horror, the Crypt, Tales of the Crypt Keeper, Tales from the Crypt. I don't know. I said Crypt Keeper. Sorry, I got a text while I'm
that's all right.
talking. What's that?
Apparently, you're the new masculine geek.
Oh, okay.
The chat voted you in. I'm on furlough now.
You're fired.
You're fired.
Yeah, so just really cool stuff comes to the store all the time. So that's probably some of the best stuff that's ever happened. And then some of the connections you make with some of the customers and stuff too are really, good times. I made some friends from there. Just stuff like that. I met a guy from Austria.
Guy from that's cool.
Yeah, I met a couple from Austria. Now they have sailed around the world, but that's how they wound up in Florida. They quit their jobs as engineers. They bought a boat and they were trying to sail around the world. And they made it as far as Florida before they decided they were just going to go back to Austria, the farm, to start a bed and breakfast and a brewery. That's kind of what they want to do now. So they're actually developing their land to build a brewery on their land. And that's I'm trying to figure out how to get over there to like go help them with that and like go visit and stuff. They're just cool people. I went out to the boat. You just you meet cool people in this job, like really cool people.
Yeah.
That's how I met Peter. That's how I met Peter for the second time, actually.
That's true. Yeah.
That's our origin story, actually. The first time I met Peter was at a book signing for Joe Hill.
Oh shit, Stephen King's son.
I got to meet him. I actually have his first comic book signed by him and the creator.
Nice.
The author.
Are we talking about you talking about American Vampire?
I'm talking about Lock and Key, actually. American
Lock and
Vampire
Key.
Stephen King's. Yeah, American Vampire with Stephen King with Scott Snyder was the first.
Okay, that's right.
Issues, I think.
Lock and Key. Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Sorry.
Yeah.
Horror comics are kind of a thing I do. Anyway, so so I met Pete. So Peter's behind me with like a fucking wheelbarrow full of stuff. Now, if you guys don't know who Peter is, he's an author in South Florida. He writes weird fiction. That's how Vince and I know him. And he goes to the cons. He's a really awesome dude. But he also sells and buys rare books. So whenever an author's in town, if he has anything by those people, he goes to their signings. So he's there with a wheelbarrow full of things behind me in line. So I get there and I shake hands with Joe Hill and get my one book signed, and then I stand there and watch while Peter gets this wheelbarrow full of stuff. And I didn't know this guy. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what is his deal? Like, I mean, who would do this, right? Well, Peter would do this. And now if you know Peter, then you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So then fast forward like a number of years, probably 5 years, 4 years, somewhere there. I'm working at the comic shop, and this guy walks in looking for Alan Moore's Providence, #1, because Providence has knocked him off his bestseller on Amazon for weird Lovecraftian mashup or some weird thing like that. Like literally, that's like his deal. Like that's what he was listed as #1 on the thing, and Alan Moore just derailed, completely dethroned him. So he's like, I got to read this to see if it's what this is about. So I'm like, you write books, okay, that's fine. And I'm also a big fan of the Lovecraft easing at this point. And I don't know if you guys know what that is. You probably know, Vince, but it's just a.
Well, I used to work for them as well. I'm good friends with Mike Davis.
Okay, so
yeah,
so if you guys are interested, anyone watching this stuff, Lovecraft easing, it's a cool thing. Vince can tell you all about it.
Yep.
But it's neat, and it kind of like brings you all things Lovecraftian or weird fiction, all in one place that you can come and check it out. So I was paying attention to that, and they plugged this book, Reanimators by Pete Rawlik. So I go and I buy the book and I read the book, and this is years before I meet Peter. And so this dude shows up and he's like, I'm an author at the comic shop. And I'm like, okay, so who the fuck is this guy? I'm like, so what's your name? He goes, I'm Peter Rawlik. And I'm like, oh, I read your book. He goes, no, you didn't. I'm like, yes, I did. And so from that point forward, we were friends. Yeah, we're just boom, done, friends, So he started coming to the comic shop, and then one thing led to another. And then I started seeing him everywhere. I went to trivia. He's at trivia. You know, like all the places I go to are in Royal Palm Beach. Like that's where we live. Like he's always there. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I need to be friends with this guy because he just keeps popping up. So finally, I passed him a short story because we went to a movie. Like there was I'm part of a group that screens horror movies every month, or used to before this happened. Old horror movies like Friday the 13th, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street, Reanimator, you know, blah blah blah. You name it, we try and put it on there. So I'm at a screening with him, and he mentioned that he wanted to do a writing group. This was what sealed the friendship. And so I passed him a story because I want to be part of this writing group. I'm like, this sounds like fun, like just hanging out with an author and drinking and other people like mine. It sounds like a really good time. So I passed him a story. He loved it. He passed it on to Mike Davis, actually. And then, you know, and they both liked it. And then one thing led to another. And then now I'm Peter's bag man at the cons. So
There you go.
you know, and his wife sends me on to make sure he takes his medication and stuff.
Yeah,
Which I'm
the
sure
first time,
he'll be thrilled to have that out there.
yeah, the first time that I met, because I knew Pete from playing in the online games and being part of the Lovecraft Easy, and there was like just a general talk we did on Sundays.
Oh, you were part of the fun guys from yoga?
Yep. So I was doing that for a couple years, and then we met up at the first Necronomicon. But Pete had fucked up his foot or his knee or whatever, so it was in a boot. I'm like, don't worry, I'll pick you up at the airport. Don't worry about a cab. I'll make sure you're safe and you're okay. We'll hang out. It's not a big deal. So we became fast friends over that, of a kind of like that shared experience, making sure he was okay, because he was all hobbling around and shit because his leg was all fucked up.
Yeah, I forget that was his Achilles or what he did to that, but I met him just after he had healed from that, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like our first time trying to travel. Actually, we were supposed to go to the film festival in Portland.
Oh yeah,
And
that's right. I forgot about
the
that.
night that we were supposed to go, a fucking hurricane showed up,
Nice.
and it stayed 4 miles off the coast. Like we could have left, no problem. Like it didn't even come near us. Like we didn't even get any fucking rain. I'm like, oh, this is the hurricane. I'm sitting outside, and like it's like a 2 mile an hour breeze. I'm like, really? Like I got shut down for this. We could have gone. But I mean, it's scary. It was a Category 4 hurricane right off the coast. I mean, we got so lucky. I'm gonna knock on one on that one. Like seriously, we just dodged a bullet. But you can't help but be annoyed. Like as a Floridian, and anyone, the guys from Florida can vouch for this one in the chat here. It just everything is put on hold because you don't know. You can't tell because the things like they move at the last possible second. They're like, oh yeah, it's gonna destroy you, and then it just goes, here's the coast, and then here's the. It's just like, oh, okay.
Missed you entirely.
Yeah, we missed school and everything for that. I boarded my damn house up, and I got like an inch of rain. Not that I'm complaining, again, but it's just like I'd rather be over prepared than not prepared at all. But
yeah,
you just kind of like make up your mind. Would you just make that move sooner so I don't have to go hang those heavy ass metal shutters and cut myself to pieces and do all that stuff? I'm not the handiest of people, It's like I got to get like family has to come over and help me. It's like it's an ordeal every time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Shit. That's got to be I don't think about that kind of thing because we're not in the path of hurricanes because of the nature of that, how everything's set up as far as like geography. We don't really see them, and if we do, chances are it's like a low level tropical storm. So we're not in the hurricane's path here in Jersey. So
Jersey.
It's so funny because I moved from one hurricane state to another. Like Rhode Island. Every storm that missed us here in Florida has always inevitably gone and just crushed
New England.
Like,
it's weird. Yeah. It's like it swings out to the ocean and up right along, Rhode Island and up to Nova Scotia and all that shit.
But the few times we're on vacation, like in Rhode Island when I was a kid, almost inevitably a hurricane would hit Florida. Like during that 2 weeks we were up visiting relatives in New England, like it just it was like, oh hey, we missed that one.
Yeah, seriously.
The only one I lived through when I was a kid was Andrew, actually. Like that was like the one
really
that we weren't out of town for,
Wow.
But that missed us. It was down in Homestead. We were just kind of up north from that. We had a huge hurricane party. That was my introduction to the hurricane party. We had a block party. Like everyone was grilling and stuff. It was a great time.
Fantastic.
Did not realize how serious that storm was for years because I was so young when it hit. I did not realize that's what it did. Like a bomb had gone off down there. I had no idea. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Hurricane party. Like, my first hurricane was super positive. Like, just we flew kites, like,
Oh, Jesus.
with water balloons, you know.
Yeah, there you go. Shit.
Went inside between the feeder bands, you know, came back out and grilled hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff. We had a great time. It was a blast. Shooting off fireworks. I mean, it was a good day. Like, we had a great time. And then, you know, the hurricane was gone. No
Nice.
problem.
Yeah, that's I've never really had to worry about that. Snowstorms and ice storms, but that's about it.
Well, we don't have to worry about those, and those are infinitely more. They're something that I could never handle. I don't think not my current state, like driving on an ice slick road. No thanks.
Yeah, I had to do that a couple times when I worked in the psych field. When I worked at a crisis house, I was doing an overnight shift. I remember this ice storm, which just everything was all black ice, and my shift was like it was the 11 to 7, and I did a dual 11 to 7 and 7 to like in the afternoon 7 to 3. But it took me a normal 15-minute ride took me an hour and a half because I was just driving so slow because you couldn't accelerate very fast, so you got to be careful.
So what's that like? Does your tires just spin, or
You'll-
like, how
well,
does
you'll-
that work?
you'll-
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I've never.
They'll spin, but you'll also start drifting either left or right. So there's like black ice has like one speed, and it's like 3 miles, 4 miles an hour. That's all you can do. That's it. That'll keep you on a plumb line straight. But if you try to do anything faster, you're just your tires will spin and you'll start drifting, port to starboard. Yep.
Sounds.
And don't even think about braking
Terrifying.
hard. Yeah, and don't even think about braking hard. That's not going to happen either. You got to pump the brakes constantly. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could handle that.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking. It takes you forever to get anywhere. So.
I'm all about staring down a Category 4 hurricane coming right at us. No problem. Like, driving, that sounds more terrifying to me than losing power for a week. You know, like.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, with the ice storm, you wind up losing power as well. So it's like you just get fucked for a couple days. Fortunately, we haven't had them for a while, so it's good. Yeah.
Rob, where do you live?
Salt Lake City, Utah. So we get snowstorms and black ice and all this shit you candy asses are talking about. That's a regular winter in Utah, and we also get earthquakes. So
yeah, you had a bad one just a couple months ago.
5.7. Yep. So
what's that like? Can you walk me through that? Like, that's another thing
Yeah,
I'm
sure,
probably never
I'll-
going to experience here. And
yeah, I can walk you
What the hell
through
is
it.
that like?
So imagine you're sitting there in your car and you're getting ready for work. You know, you're at your
A little more
job
whiskey,
site, you're in your car, and all of a sudden the truck starts kind of doing this, like someone's bouncing on the back end. And so you're looking in the rearview mirror to go, what the fuck? Who's fucking around with the truck? Never mind that it's a 34,000 pound truck and it's moving like a bunch of guys are jumping on it. And then all of a sudden you hear this noise that's like this. And then it's just everything fucking shakes like your truck just got hit by another truck. And then it's over and you look out and you see the high tension lines that are 20 feet up fucking swaying back and forth. And
That's
everything
insane.
shakes and then it stops and the power's out and car alarms are going off and you're like, what the fuck was that? And everyone's going, that was an earthquake. And then about 20 minutes later, another one hits. And the best part is you can't see them. You don't know when they're coming or when they're not. The aftershocks can go on. We had over 200 aftershocks after the 5.7. And that was over the course of a month. And you don't know when they're coming. And by the time you hear them, you're already in it. So you can't see them. You can't outrun them. There's no way to predict them like with a hurricane. You can kind of see them coming. They may veer off and go somewhere else. Same with tornadoes, but at least you have a heads up. You have no heads up with an earthquake. They just happen. And so you don't know until you're in it.
How does that like? Okay, so like when a hurricane's coming or when a hurricane is like about here, I know for me personally, it makes me feel very small. Like just like I have no control over the situation. Like whatever's going to happen next, like it's just I'm going to hang on for dear life and hope that we make it through the other side, no problem. That no one gets hurt. My house is still standing.
Yep.
So now you're telling me the Earth's betraying you. What does that make you feel like? Like
same thing, except you can't see it. You don't know what direction it's coming from, because when an earthquake happens, it goes out in a radius. And so it's not like a hurricane or something that has a path. It's the ground snapping literally, and it's the shock wave going through like it would in the water, except you can see waves as they're coming and kind of brace for them. This is the earth itself that's shock waving. So you don't see it. And like I said, by the time you hear it, you're already in it. And there was an episode of this show, actually, of Masculine Geek, I'm pretty sure, that I was sitting here at my desk talking to the guys, and we had an aftershock roll through because the whole table starts all doing shit like that. And I'm just like, whoa. And everyone's like, oh, fuck. And it's like, yep, that was an aftershock. And it was about a 4.0.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And they're so fast usually, and they only last maybe a couple of seconds, that you literally don't have time to do anything. And yet you're hearing shit rattle around. If it's big enough, shit's falling off counters and off your tables, and lights are falling over and shit. And the best you can do is try to get under cover. Otherwise, you're riding it out until it's over, and that's it.
Does it cause any did it cause any structural damage to your house?
It didn't do any structural damage to my house. It actually fucked up my toilet where it caused a leak. And so I had about an inch of water in my bathroom floor that I had to clean up and fix the toilet, get it all kind of right, get everything fixed on that. But the foundation,
it crack the bowl or the tank?
There's a rubber section between the actual tank and the toilet itself that somehow the shock of that earthquake had actually caused it to dislodge. And so I had to go in and retighten it up, that kind of thing. But earthquakes are funny because, like I said, you don't know when they're going to hit. There's no way to predict them. You basically write them out, and if it's a big enough earthquake, because actually here in Utah, we live on several faults. This is earthquake country here. Not quite like California, but we have a lot of faults here. We get little tiny earthquakes all the time that you don't even feel them. There was already like 3 or 4 today that were like 1.0, 1.5, and you never feel those. But anything over about a 2.5, you'll feel it, and it's like, just things kind of shake for a second, and then it's like, oh, that was an earthquake. Or it feels like, I remember one night with my ex-girlfriend, we're laying in bed watching something, and we just feel the house vibrate, like it jolted violently, and it felt and sounded like a car had hit the side of the house. And I even jumped out of bed and looked out the windows, and then went outside and walked around the house to see, like, Christ, did someone just hit the house? And there was nothing. And it's like, and that's when I walked back in. It was like, we just had an earthquake. And a few minutes later, it pops up on my app. Yeah, that was a 2.5. And it's like, oh, okay. And when you're in like my home is a 2nd story building. I'm above, I'm not directly on the ground. Anything over about a 2.0, you will feel it the higher up you go. So when you're like 14 stories up, the whole building will start to sway and shake. It'll start doing this.
Crazy.
Yeah, and it's frightening. We had, when that 5.7 hit in March, we had buildings over 100 years old that earthquake leveled them. It demolished the side of the wall. It took part of the roof down, all that kind of stuff. It fucked shit up. So.
All right, so I got to ask you, how involved do you think the Mormons are in these earthquakes happening?
Well, that's part of their whole preparedness thing. That's why
it's
they got
emergency preparedness. Yeah.
Yes, that's why they've got like 2 months of fucking shit stashed away at all times. Yeah. So
that's pretty funny.
It's funny, hearing Vince talk about black ice, and I'm like, that's every winter in Salt Lake. That happens all the time in Salt Lake.
Yeah, we might get it once per winter. It depends on how bad it is. Yeah,
that's like every 2 weeks here. That's where you throw the chains on the truck and you drive at 15 miles an hour and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't mind too much, but you just have to know how to comport yourself. You have to make sure you know what you're doing. That's all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I guess Sal just wandered the fuck off. What the fuck, Sal? He's like, oh, I'm done. I can't hear you because I fucking muted you. There you go.
Don't unmute me. There we go.
There you go.
I was my my roommate just came back and the dogs were freaking out. I was trying to figure out if someone was coming in.
Oh, okay. So they're coming to get you. You talked about Mormons. They're coming to get you.
You never know. Like, you know, you mentioned the M word, and, you know, they're everywhere. It's like Scientology, you know, you never want to really badmouth them either.
Yes. This
There's
is
someone named
Atham.
Atham,
yes. He's our token Mexican from Nevada. Is it from Nevada?
Yeah, he's like over in Reno or something like that.
There you go.
He's our Nevadian Mexican or our
There you
Mexican
go.
Nevadian or something like that.
he said Nevadian. Now, when I was a kid, I came to my dad and I'm like, you know, Dad, one of the states that I kind of want to check out one day is Nevada.
Nevada?
Let's go out to Nevada. Let's go out to Nevada.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I never live that one down ever. I will probably.
sure,
my
yeah.
dad even, you know,
We're gonna-
always he'll bust that out like.
Well,
I'm
now that
36
you-
now, and he's like,
Now that you've told us and everybody in the chat's heard you say it, you're never gonna.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely.
yeah, I was 6.
Sounds
You know, I was
Nevada
6,
guy.
7 years old. You know, you mispronounce one word when you're like a small child, and
Oh yeah,
you
you're
just never
you're
live
done.
that. They that's it. You're done.
That's right. Never
Yeah,
lived that one
Sal,
down.
the guy that wants to go see Nevada.
Nevada. Go to Nevada.
My dad's like, you know what's never gonna happen?
That's right. I love puns.
He just
TJ
he
is
just
so
hit me with that.
amused right now.
we're fishing, you know, and I'm like trying to reel fish, and he goes, you know what's never gonna happen? And I'm like, what? He goes, you're never gonna get that fish in the boat, just like you're never going to Nevada. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Never
That was
gonna
30 years
happen.
ago. Let it go.
Good night, Atham. Thanks for stopping by.
Yep. Thanks for saying hi.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yes. And TJ lives in the wonderful Pacific Northwest.
That I do.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
he
still
lives
can't hear
in the
TJ at
second
all
terminal.
on his mic when he talks. So.
Well, we can't hear TJ because he's muffled because he's not talking into his
That
microphone.
I do. That I do.
I still
He
can't. He's
lives
talking
in
right
the
now. I still
second
can't hear.
capital of the communist land.
I can hear Rob. I can hear Vince. I can hear myself talking, but I cannot for the life of me hear TJ.
That's weird.
At this point, I'm just reacting to you guys.
Up
Whenever you laugh, I'm like,
volume.
I can hear TJ fine.
so what's he saying?
He said, "Fuck you, Sal."
Sorry.
You know.
They said the
Well,
beautiful.
fuck you too, man.
We have to do like sign language and shit. You guys, talk in the chat. Talk in the chat.
Okay. Does that not, like, I laugh whenever I see the what do you call it? Sign language people during a press conference.
Oh, do you make up your own words?
Those are crap. People didn't like this movie, but what's the worst that could happen with Martin Lawrence and Danny DeVito? That just, once you watch that movie, you can never watch a press conference with a sign language person ever again without laughing.
No shit. I have to check. I've never heard that movie. I have to check that movie out.
It was
What
people
movie?
hate the movie, but
I really can't hear.
watched parts of it I thought was freaking
That's strange. You can't hear him.
He's the only one too. So that's why.
TJ, is
I
your
haven't said anything.
microphone and is your microphone on?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear it. It should be. Yeah. I just for
Yeah.
some reason I got nothing. When I watch this later, I'll be like, this guy's hysterical.
I know,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah. No, TJ's fine.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
like TJ a lot. You know, just haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. I keep talking to Rob. I can hear Rob. I can hear you.
Yeah,
The
Rob.
only
we're
reason,
talking-
TJ, I'm not talking to you directly. I'm sorry, man. Can't hear your responses. I can't interact.
How's this?
Oh, there you go. That's
Not
better.
Oh, what the frickin'? It was
That
using.
sound-
It was
It's just
using
me.
my
I don't know what's going
camera.
on. I must have done something to a setting or something somewhere,
No.
but I can't figure it out
switched
on my phone right now.
the
okay.
internet cam that I have. It it was having the audio go through that instead of this. It was only
Okay.
having the me hearing.
Yeah, I can hear you much better now. I mean, it was okay before, but I don't know why Sal's shit's all fucked
Got
up.
nothing.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, just
Ah,
use the one.
that's right. We're gonna start wrapping it up because we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. But we're gonna wait for Rob's. Oh, there you go. Here he goes. Okay.
Hey, Rob.
So Rob's done touching his pee-pee.
Right.
Yes.
It happens
All right.
to the best of us.
Well, you have when you got to go when you're old like us. You gotta.
Right.
I mean, some people go like this, you know. I saw one dude at a Target bathroom. He walked in. It was this dude. I don't know. He was like, he must have been a foreigner or something. I don't know. He's from a different. He just dropped his pants. He just bare-assed. He was wearing a backpack, and he just dropped his pants completely, like down to the floor, and just stood bare-assed, naked, like
And
pissing
pissing.
into the thing. Yeah.
Oh my
it.
god. Hey,
Take it out of my
when-
brain. Take it out.
And while he's going, no lie, he reached back there and he's like scratching up in, you know, like just getting like inside of a cheek on the side a little bit. As
Oh
I'm
my
sitting there washing my hands, I'm
god.
like,
Jesus Christ.
really?
Target and Walmart bathrooms are the worst.
Just straight to the floor though. He was wearing like, you know, even the best part about it was he was wearing like overalls. Like just
Jesus.
to the floor.
So basically fully naked taking a piss.
Essentially, yeah, taking a piss, like a fully naked man taking a piss. Middle of a
Jesus
Target.
Christ. Unbelievable. And then we just lost Sal. Well, it is the 2-hour mark, so
Not relevant at all, but there you go.
oh, there you're back. Okay.
Oh.
So apparently this has been the most beautiful moving episode of MG ever. We appreciate that.
Am I
Yes.
still there
That's
with you
saying a
guys? or-
lot, Nick, considering we had the Himmler Cafe or whatever the last time.
Oh yeah.
The Holocaust Cafe. That was up there. So, but this has definitely been one of the best ones and one of the most bizarre ones. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun titling this one after it compiles.
We're gonna have to bring Sal back on. He needs to be a recurring guest.
Absolutely. Yep. He's got some good stories. He's a very good storyteller. We were hanging. He'll probably come back if you click the link. When we were hanging out in Providence, he was definitely entertaining. Like this guy's pretty fucking funny.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, those like you go back to the small cons. The small cons are really, really cool and fun. I mean, you can do those little literary one. That's what the H.P. Lovecraft one is all literary, and you can stay at the hotel. You get a reduced convention rate at the Omni Hotel or the old Biltmore. Somebody bought it, and I forget the name of it. What
There
the
it
fuck what is going on down there in fucking Florida? Jesus,
It
I
just
can't hear.
shit itself. Probably my roommate came home, so
Oh, okay.
she probably jumped on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, probably.
Took a second.
She's streaming her porn. All right, it's the 2-hour mark, so we're going to sign off, and we definitely want to have you back on as a recurring guest. So you've now been recruited.
Hello, guys. Hi. How's it
All
going?
right, you back?
Sorry
All
about that.
right, there
I'm
you go.
back.
All right,
I'm back.
cool.
Sorry about that.
I was going to say you've been recruited. Everyone loves you as a guest, and this has been a fun episode. So you're going to be coming back. Yeah. So, social media. Do you have a web presence or social media presence at all that you would like to plug?
Hold on. I can't hear you. Hang on.
What the
Jesus
fuck is
fucking Christ?
your microphone? Your microphone's off. Can you hear us?
I'm sorry. It's me. It's me. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear?
Sorry
Can you hear?
about that, though.
All right. So, do you have a web presence or a social media presence you would like to plug? Like, hey, this is where you can find me.
I'm just starting something right now called a horror blog, but it's not really live yet. So maybe
Okay.
I can let you know when that's happening. We can let people know.
Well, once that goes live, we'll bring you back on again so you can talk about it.
Sure. I'm happy to come on anytime. Actually, this is a lot of fun. I've had it's a blast. I've had a good time.
Cool. Excellent. All right, TJ, where can everyone find you?
tjmartinell.com or in
I
Paradise.
can hear him.
Ah.
You can hear him now.
Do you see the
The
light?
last 2 minutes.
All right, we'll back it up a bit. Sal, is there anything you wanted to ask TJ, or vice versa?
TJ, you go ahead. I got a picture from the Pacific Northwest.
No, I just no questions. No questions,
AKA
Your Honor.
Conland.
Yeah,
No, I'm on
TJ's
the
not
other
fond
side
of
of
where
the
he
mountain.
lives.
Well, we'll talk next time.
Indeed, yes. And Rob, where can everyone find you?
RobSays.net.
There you go. And everyone listen and read what Red Crusader has to say. Like the video, you spurgs. Yes, please do. Obviously, you can find us on masculinegeek.com. Go sign up for the newsletter.
I think it's me, guys.
That's okay. Go sign up for the newsletter. Go check out SoundCloud. We are on SoundCloud. We're also on BitChute, but I still need to upload more videos. And yes, Red, you are correct. At the moment, because of his roommate stealing the bandwidth, Sal's connection is shitting the bed. So we're going to sign off for now. Until next time, keep the fires burning.
Am I back now or no?
You're back, but we're going to sign off
Did I
for
not
now.
come back? Am I not here?
You're here.
All right.
Yeah, but we're going to sign off. So everyone say goodnight to Sal. And we will talk to you next time. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, gentlemen. This was a real pleasure. I had a good time.
Meh.
Meh.
Meh. Meh.